Hello everyone, first of all, I'm Alberto and I want to talk about one thing in specific. Let's talk about the autonomy of form in Wassily Kandinsky, the light oval, and its importance in the history of art. Wassily Kandinsky was a Russian painter and the art theorist, widely recognized as one of the pioneers of abstract art. His life and work marked a turning point in the history of modern art, as he was one of the first to break with figurative representation to explore the specific power of pure forms and colors. Shape have a life of its own. What does a novel suspend of a sea of abstracted symbols tell us? Today we explore Wassily Kandinsky, the light oval, a word that embodies the concept of the autonomy of form, a form that doesn't represent but communicates. Join me on this visual and concept journey through abstract and art and this power to express without words. In this context, the light of oval was born part of his Bauhaus period, where Kandinsky delved into the structured yet vibrant painting, a painting where each form has an eternal meaning, its own energy. Let's look at some paintings by Wassily Kandinsky as a complement. The Winter Landscape is a fascinating work that marks an important period in the artist's transition toward destruction. This painting depicts a winter landscape, but unlike traditional realistic representations, Kandinsky used shape and colors in ways that anticipate his movement toward complete abstraction. Painting with a green center. This painting is an emblematic example of Kandinsky's traditional period toward complete abstraction, a movement he led that had a profound impact on the development of modern art. The work is characterized by its vibrant use of color and dynamic composition. In it, Kandinsky explored the relationship between color and form, two central elements in his artist's quest. Improvisation 1930. It is one of Wassily Kandinsky's best-known works and is part of his Improvisations series, in which the artist explores emotional expression through abstraction. This particular work, created during the outbreak of World War I, reflects the turmoil and unrest of the period through its dynamic composition and vibrant use of color. Composition 6. This work is another example of his abstract style with a rich complexity of intervening shapes and colors. Kandinsky believed this piece evoked a flow, creation, Mount Sinai, and the Last Judgment, all simultaneously. Let's look at the light oval. In the center, a luminous oval seems to flow, almost like an eye and a nucleus of energy. It is surrounded by lines, planes, geometric shapes, curves, and angles. There is no traditional perspective, no illusionary tip, yet everything seems to have movement, tension, and rhythm. Kandinsky spoke of inner necessity, two idea that forms should not copy the exterior, but rather express the invisible. Here, the oval is not an object, but a presence. To speak of autonomy of form is to speak of liberation. In history of Western art, for centuries, forms were at the service of representation, a body, a flower, or a scenes, but in modernity, artists like Kandinsky discovered that form need not be of something. A light can move without drawing a figure, a color can move without painting an object. Forms becomes self-sufficient. It has meaning on its own, and it becomes a vehicle for the spiritual, the psychological, the poetic. In the light oval, each element exists for its own sake. The light oval was created in 1925 during Kandinsky time at the Bauhaus, the famous German art school. There, his language became more geometric, more orderly, but never cold. Inspired by science, music, and theosophy, Kandinsky believed that forms had intrinsic value. A triangle wasn't just a shape, it was an energy. A circle wasn't just a clothesline, it was a cosmic pulsation. This period marks a transition between his early expressionism and his purest geometric abstraction, and the light oval is a point of balance between both worlds. The autonomy of form means that its oval figure does not need to be something to have value. It's autonomous because it has a function in the composition, an emotional resonance, like a note in an abstract symphony. Colors are not anecdotal. Kandinsky studied them as if they were sounds. Blue is deep, introspective. Yellow is sharp, restless. Red, a vibrant force. In the life of all, colors don't decorate. They construct, they add, they speak. The overall shape is clear, yes, but also mysterious. It is a window, a cosmic bomb, and a spiritual symbol. It's not so much what it is that matters, but what it makes you feel. These are essences of the autonomy of form, freeing art from the obligations to narrate so that it can be simple. Here are some interesting facts about the autonomy of the form. First, it wasn't always obvious that form could be autonomous. Before the 20th century, art almost always served a narrative, religious, or representational function. The idea that a geometric form could have aesthetic value in of itself without representing anything was ridiculous. 2. Form can generate emotions without narrative content. Kandinsky believed that shapes, like colors, could have a direct impact on the soul. For example, a pointed triangle could convey tension, while a circle could invoke calm. This is based on a kind of visual emotional synesthesia. 3. Shapes were like musical notes for Kandinsky. In his book on the spiritual in art, Kandinsky compares form to instrument in an orchestra. Each has an inner sound, just as a musical note doesn't need to represent anything to be moving. Neither does an abstract form. 4. Autonomy does not mean isolation. Although we speak of the autonomy of form, Kandinsky didn't think of a form as completely independent. Rather, he believed that each form should maintain its identity within a composition, but also engage a dialogue with the others. There's a kind of visual democracy in his works. 5. The background is also form. In Kandinsky's works, the background is just an empty space. Often, the background becomes form and vice versa.
is a play of tension and balance where everything is in motion. 6. The autonomy of form anticipates modern graphics design. This abstract approach directly influenced the development of graphic design, modern architecture, typography, and even digital interfaces, where form conveys meaning without the need for recognizable words or figures. 7. Art as a universal language. Kandinsky and other abstract artists believed that by eliminating references to the real world, form could communicate directly with an audience, regardless in their culture or language. It was a dream of a universal art.
Kandinsky believed that I should speak to the soul without intermediaries. Form is not at the service of a story, a figure, or an ideology. It is the service of a spirit. When a form is autonomous, it is free to move, to generate tension, to activate something within us. In this sense, the life oval doesn't represent, it reveals. It reveals how a nameless form can be as powerful as a recognizable image.